Hello and welcome back to Kale's Travails. I think today is day 18 and I gotta tell you, things are starting to bleed together a little bit. I was trying to think ahead of filming this like, oh gosh, what did I do today? Well, I know. So you're gonna come on a stream of consciousness journey with me and let's see what happens. So got up this morning, got out, and as I said yesterday, I had a taxi driver who was scheduled to come pick me up and he was there right on time. I think he was even a minute early, which was super nice. No breakfast this morning. So last night I didn't feel like going out to dinner. So I went to a nearby supermarket, which turned out to be a gas station market, which was sort of unfairly labeled online. But that's where I got some snacks for dinner last night, which I won't divulge here because they're kind of embarrassing, but included a little bit of chocolate, which I haven't had in ages, which was nice. And then I got a pineapple juice for this morning. I would have gotten a croissant as well because yesterday's croissant and pineapple juice went so well. There were no croissants, so I got pineapple juice. So this morning I got up, ate the pineapple juice, drank the pineapple juice. It did not go as well. I think the croissant is part of that magic. I largely just had a bit of an acidic stomach, which isn't the greatest, and it's not very filling. So taxi driver brought me back to Pushayos, and I took off, and felt okay. Some of my extremities were a little twingy today, a little worse than yesterday, so I was trying to listen and take it as fast or as slow as anything felt like. So I had to get back to Estación de Lalin, which was kind of in line with Lalin, where I slept last night, and then onwards to Alax or Alasha. Again, I don't know what it's actually called. And then when I get there, I'm like, I don't think I'm done for the day. I think I want to keep going. So instead of stopping at the albergue, I'm just going to go straight to the restaurant. There's a restaurant right on the route. So I walk up to the restaurant and it's got a sign out front that says open. The door is locked and the lights are off. And this is not the first place this happened today. The restaurant in Alasha, in Estación de Lalin was closed. The restaurant in, I don't actually know I think it's Eraisha or something, closed. Everything was closed. I need 2 stamps per day for the last 100 kilometers in order for me to get my certificate, and everything's closed. Luckily, in Estación de Lalin, when I realized that this was a thing, there was a second restaurant, which was also obviously closed, but the people who I presume own it were cleaning the outdoors, and I went over and I was like, listen, I'm so sorry to bother you on your day off. I know that you're closed, but I would be really happy to buy literally anything from you if you could give me a stamp. And they were like, what? I was like, I need 2 per day and everything's closed. And they were like, no, we'll give you a stamp. And they did. Thank God, because really the stamp life was not going well today. So there's no food in Estación de Lalin. And at that point, I'm kind of hungry, right? At Estación de Lalin, I'm already 4 miles in. I don't remember. And I'm hungry. So my plan was, I'm going to sit, I'm going to eat, I'm going to read sunscreen, I'm going to get my stamp. Whoop, whoop, whoop. No. I did put on sunscreen. Luckily, I had an apple in my bag, so I ate the apple. I get to, let's go back again, forward. So now we're in Alasha or Alax, and the restaurant's closed. And now I am hungry. I'm hungry, and there's nothing in town. So I either have to taxi or I have to keep walking. And while I'm sitting on the ground trying to call around for like, where am I gonna sleep tonight? I was calling ahead to the next couple towns. People aren't picking up. Restaurants, I tried to call the restaurant I was next to see what time they were going to open. They didn't pick up. It's a Sunday. I know that more things are closed here, but I've been going off of Google hours, right? If you go on Google, it says the restaurant's open. That's actually been working pretty well until today. So I was having trouble finding somewhere to sleep. I was in trouble finding somewhere to eat. I finally found somewhere to sleep in Silleda. That's where I am now. Creepiest albergue ever. We'll get to that in a minute. And so I decided to keep walking. Before I stand up, though, I remember that glorious chocolate bar from last night. I only ate a third of it. So I ate another third, and I was so happy to have that in my bag, because otherwise I don't know if I would have made it. So now, so far during the day, I've had an apple, a little bit of pineapple juice, and a little bit of chocolate. Keep walking, and I think it was 6 kilometers was the next 2 stops. Now, in the next stop, there should have been a restaurant, and there wasn't. And then the next stop, well, actually, before I get to the next stop, between those last 2 stops, there was this super cool Roman bridge. And it just had me thinking, like, I've already thought of this before, but it just really brought it to me because it had super old stonework. It was really cool. It was in the woods, so it's never been accessible to cars. Just literally, Romans used to walk where I'm walking. The things that I'm walking over were built by Romans back in who even knows how long ago. It's pretty amazing. So I walked over the Roman bridge. And by the way, today it was an up and down day. It's gonna be like that the rest of the way. You know, you've got these glorious downhills where you're like, yeah, saving energy, making good time. And then I wish humans were more like bicycles, right? Where you can take that momentum from a downhill to help you up back again. Not the case. You get to the bottom of a downhill, you look at the uphill, and you're like, son of a. So there's a lot of that today. Now, back to the food saga. I get to, gosh darn it, I've forgotten the name again. Taboada, something like that. Right after the Roman bridge. And there's a restaurant, but I can't figure out quite how to get to it because the Camino's going this way and the restaurant's over there. So I think I have to go all the way up and then loop back down. And by the way, I've decided at this point that this town is where I'm going to stop for the day, and I will cab to Silleda from here because at this point I've gone over 11 miles, which is a good day for me. Some of my injuries were starting to really flare up, and I was like, you know what? We're done. We're done. It's only 4 more kilometers to Silleda, which is less than 3 miles. It's not worth it. So as I'm climbing up this gigantic hill that I think I'm gonna have to go back down again to get to the bar, there's a bar at the top of the hill. Oh my God, I was so excited. So I walked in and I was like, I would like a clara. And do you have anything to eat? And she's like, we have ham or cheese. And I was like, cheese it is. So I had some cheese with a hunk of bread, and that's how my lunch went. But then I asked, when I went in to pay and get my stamp, I asked them, hey, do you have a number of a taxi? Because sometimes I look up taxi numbers online, but in smaller towns, sometimes you just ask the bar and they know the local taxi driver, and that person's gonna know exactly where you are. Way more straightforward. So I asked the woman, and she's waffling a bit and she's talking to some of the other workers, and then she turns to me, she's like, oh, this woman's husband who's here is a driver. And I was like, oh, cool. But they still didn't seem sure about what was going on. And then eventually he was like, yeah, come with me. So I hop in the car with him and we're just chatting on the way. And we get here to Silleda. And he's like, this is where you're going. And I'm like, great, cool, thanks. How much? And he goes, oh, nothing. I'm like, wait a minute, what? He's like, yeah, no big deal, nothing. Okay, thank you. So that was super, super nice. Unfortunately, he's not driving tomorrow, so I have to find a different taxi to bring me back in the morning to do those last 4 kilometers. Now, the albergue. So I had called ahead. This albergue had a space. When I looked online, I was like, oh my God, it's this huge place. There are going to be so many peregrinos, so many other pilgrims with me. I called the woman, sorry it's so late. It was pretty late in the day for a pilgrim arrival. And she's like, no big deal. Come on over. We'll be right there. So her daughter comes to let me in, and she lets me in and stamps my pilgrim credential and gives me the spiel, right? Here's the Wi-Fi. Here's blah, blah, blah. So she walks me up. It's 3 flights of stairs. And then she's like, we're going to put you down at the end of the hall because it's closest to the bathroom. And I was like, cool, thanks. And then I was like, am I the only one here? And she's like, oh yeah, you're the only one here. Now guys, albergues are not necessarily like hotels where there's staff. When I say I'm the only one here, I'm the only one in this whole freaking building. They're not sleeping here tonight. I'm the only one in this building. I'm on the 3rd floor of a long hallway, so I don't even know what's on the floors below me. This place is huge. It's huge, and I am completely alone. I don't love it. Like, not even a little bit. So, after I post this video, I'm gonna go out and find a bar to sit at until I'm tired. And then I'm gonna come back and just pass out. So that tomorrow morning I can just wake up and leave, because really, I don't like being alone in a gigantic building that I've never been to before. Yeah, not my thing. So, creepiest albergue I've ever been in. But, you know, the bed's comfortable and the shower was hot, and I guess I can't really complain. So tomorrow, I actually have no idea where I'm going to walk to tomorrow. So tomorrow I have choices because I got further ahead today than I thought I would. And now that we're getting closer to Santiago, there are more things closer together. I officially passed the halfway mark of the final 100 kilometers. I'm at about 45 kilometers left now, which, you know, US friends, that puts me at around 30 miles, I think a little bit less. It's crazy to think that after these past 3 weeks of walking, I only have 30 miles between me and the end. Now I could, if I really wanted to push, probably do that in 3 days, but I don't want to push. I want to enjoy this. I'm perfectly on schedule with 4 days. In fact, I think I might be a day ahead of schedule still. And I don't want to risk injury. I don't want to get frustrated. So I'm looking at, you know, 4 8-mile days, or more realistically, I'm hoping to do 3 9-mile days and then a short last day. Or something like that. I guess we'll find out how much under 30 we're at. But so that's the plan. I'll let you guys know tomorrow where I land. Luckily, this place actually has really good Wi-Fi, even though it seemed like the place that I have the least, because it's got like there's no restaurant, there's no bar, there's no anything fancy about it, but the Wi-Fi is great. So you will get this video today and then more to come tomorrow. Thanks as always for tuning in, and we're down to the last 30 miles. Oh my God, 30 miles, which is great because my shoes are dying. So anyway, have a good one. Talk to you next time on Kales Travails. Bye.